Okay, so I want to take this time to be vulnerable and talk about fear. So let me take this chance to say that yes, I know I have been missing for a while now, 2 months to be exact. And in this video, I want to explain how fear aided in that absence and the role that it can play in all of our lives, but specifically the role it played in my life within the last couple of months. So if you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and share this video with anyone who needs to hear it. Without anything else that needs to be said, let's get into it. Okay, so I know I've talked about fear before, both in a previous video and on my blog. And if you keep up with either or, then you're probably like, okay, what else are you gonna say about fear? And I know that it can seem a little redundant in the way that I talk about it, but it's only because it's such an important topic that I keep speaking on it, and that I probably will speak on it a couple more times in the future. So bear with me, because there is a point to all of this talk of fear. I want to go on record as saying fear is both a driver and a hindrance from success. A lot of the stories we hear of our role models or people we look up to is how they push past their fear in order to be better and stronger. And that's something that fear can do for you. It can put an obstacle in front of you that you have to push against. And as you progress past that point, you feel more and more accomplished. But don't get me wrong, fear can also be extremely crippling. And that's where I found myself in these last couple of months, crippled. At the end of the day, I was feeling unsure. I was feeling like I wasn't making the right moves or decisions, and I was isolating myself from the world. Instead of pushing past my fear, I allowed it to shut me down completely. And the result of that was a scared, unmotivated young woman who wasn't living in her potential. And that's not who I am or who I want to be. So I had to do things to help push me out of that place so that I can be the best version of myself. So what did I do to help push past this fear, you might be asking? Well, the number one thing that I did and am doing is this right here, which is getting in front of it and just doing the work. Here's the thing about fear. It never goes away. It actually is a part of our everyday life. If you ever watched the movie Inside Out, they show fear inside of this girl's head. It's an entity that's needed, and it helps her get away from things that can hurt her and prepare her for the surrounding areas. So it's necessary. What's important is not that we get rid of fear, but that we learn how to work with fear. And that's what I'm doing right now with recording this video, with putting myself out there, with doing the work, even though it scares the hell out of me. The second thing that I am doing, or that I have to do, is to be honest with myself. A lot of times we're not honest about how we're feeling, and that's where I was just a few months ago. When I was sad or angry or depressed or whatever, I was pretending like I wasn't, like everything was fine, like I was okay, and that wasn't the truth. And it's easier for fear to take over in a moment where you're not being honest and or vulnerable. Not only did I need to be real with myself about how I was feeling, but I needed to be real with the people around me about how I was feeling, because I didn't need them to pacify me or pretend with me. I needed them to acknowledge what I was going through and be as helpful as possible with what I was going through. So secondly, that's the biggest thing too, is being honest about what I'm going through, how I'm feeling, being vulnerable, being open, and allowing other people to be helpful when they know exactly what I'm going through. Lastly, what I had to do was surround myself with positive energy. That includes being in atmospheres that is full of positive energy, which is more than likely a group setting with friends or colleagues or people who are in the same mind frame as me, who are doing kind of the same thing, and they have nothing but good vibes to give to me. But that also includes feeding myself with good vibes and knowing that even though I can't be surrounded by people at all times, I shouldn't need to be surrounded by people at all times. I should be able to feed myself. And I found that being able to do that came from rewarding myself or celebrating myself or just doing the things that I love. So, for example, I'm a person who loves to go to the movies. Like, the movies are my thing. If you know anything about me, you know this. And for months now, I can honestly say I've been to the movies once this year. I haven't been doing that. I haven't been going to the movies and doing the thing that I love. Instead, I've been sitting at home isolated and distracting myself with things that are purposeless, because it was easier to do that than to face my fears head on and then reward myself for doing so. So it was important to me to get back to that root and to enjoy the little things in life, because having that type of peace made pushing past the fear that much easier. And I say all of this because it doesn't just apply to me. It applies to anybody out there who might be dealing with the exact same situation. It's so easy to lock ourselves in our homes. It's so easy to pretend like we're okay. It's so easy to just let that fear be crippling. But it's a lot harder to do what needs to be done to push past it, to be honest with ourselves, and to reward ourselves when we do those things. Having peace and knowing that fear is a part of life helps you to be the most successful version of yourself. And that's what's helping me now today. Am I sitting here saying that everything is perfect and I'm fine and I don't have any issues anymore and now I can speak freely and tell you what to do? No, not at all. I'm still fearful. I'm still holding back to some degree, but every day I do a little bit more. I challenge myself a little bit more. I take it one step at a time, as should you. So again, if you find yourself dealing with a similar feeling or pushing and hiding behind that feeling, I encourage you to take it one step at a time, but to constantly move forward. Even if it's just an inch forward, move forward so that you're not stuck in a mundane life that you don't want because fear has taken over you. Thank you so much for tuning back in, and thank you so much for being patient with my absence. I am gonna get better. I am gonna stick to my videos. I am gonna stick to my blog. If you haven't already, please check out my new website. It's still under a little bit of maintenance, but it's pretty solid right now. And it's just gonna keep getting bigger and better, because regardless of this fear that keeps pounding in my head, I am determined to do bigger and better. And I hope you are too. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.